once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. But today I have something very, very special. Something different, something unique, something even some of you might find to be controversial. Okay? But before I open it up, I want to quickly just give you a little backstory. Okay? A long time ago, in a galaxy very, very near, there was a Star Wars trilogy, and that's it. Star Wars, Empire, Jedi. That's what they had. And when they ended, there was not much else going on. And Hasbro desperately wanted, or I should say Kenner, desperately needed something to keep the toy sales going. Without a new movie coming out, there wasn't much choice. So, what did they do? Easy. Lucasfilm created a Saturday morning cartoon. Now, kids, for those of you who don't know, back in the day before cable and internet and YouTube and everything else that people, media is how all the different ways that media is consumed these days, we used to have basically a half a dozen channels. And most of those channels showed TV shows, sitcoms, dramas, news reports, sports. But for kids, our time was for a short period of time after school and Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings generally from about 8 a.m. until about noon. It was all for us, baby. And that's what we indulged in. All sorts of Saturday morning cartoons. From every character you can imagine. And a lot of times there were corresponding toy runs to go with this. And Star Wars jumped on this bandwagon in 1985 and 1986 when they produced two, not one, but two shows. They produced Droids, which was basically a droid cartoon series featuring R2 and 3PO and a handful of other ancillary characters you might have recognized from Star Wars. And the rest of it was all new characters. And it was just about these adventures that they went on prior to becoming Luke Skywalker's master and that kind of thing. And then, obviously, totally not canon anymore, but at the time it was. Then the other one was Ewoks, which was basically a cartoon all about the adventures of the Ewoks. They were both, the Droids cartoon lasted only one season, the Ewoks cartoon lasted two. And Hasbro did release a toy line to go with it. It wasn't very popular. There wasn't a lot of interest in it. And then it folded. The next year, I think they might have released a few figures. The first line included a bunch of figures from the cartoon series, a few vehicles, and then the second year, I think there might have been some more stuff kind of geared more towards preschool for the Ewok fans. But that was pretty much it. But they did design a few other figures to go along with it. And then I think they even released some of those figures in other countries. I think Brazil had a few of those. Fast forward to, maybe 20 years later, and Droids is long gone, Ewoks is long gone, and there is essentially the figures that you found from Droids, even though they weren't very popular, are now hugely expensive on the secondary market. And the same thing goes for the Ewoks. But what's even more expensive than that are the handful of released figures that were only released in certain countries and the unproduced prototypes. So that is kind of like the holy grail for collectors. Now, this is where the controversy comes in. Because what has gone on now in the 2010s and 2020 time frame that didn't happen in the 2000s, that didn't happen in the 1990s, that didn't happen in the 1980s or beyond, earlier than that? Well, I'll tell you in two words. 3D printing. That's right, my friends. 3D printing has become a much easier thing to do. It has become a much more accessible way for people to build their collections, to repair figures, to create replica weapons, all of that. And I have discovered a few people that have made a business out of creating replicas of prototypes and replicas of very rare figures. Now, I do stress the word replica because I understand that there are collectors out there that might not enjoy this type of content, okay? And they might say, well, that's like devaluing the original toy. I don't think so. I don't believe that is true. I've always managed to stick to my guns and say a toy is only worth what a person's willing to pay for it, or what a person can pay for it. Now, the reality of it is some of these droid figures are, mint on card. Even, some of the mint, loose figures will fetch prices well in the $500-$600 range. And some figures that are in the card can fetch thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. That is a high-end collectible market that most of us will never ever be able to see. Certainly not me. Okay, I suppose I could sell half of my collection to acquire a mint on card, you know, I forget his name, Uncle Gundy, or whatever, or, you know, Duloc Ewoks action figure. You know what I mean? It's and honestly, to me, it's a little bit ridiculous. Okay, that's just my own feeling. If you have the money and you have the ability to pay that, and you really want to have that original, more power to you. You do what you want with your money. Me, I'm more picky and choosy that way, and I did come across some reputable places that make not only 3D printed versions of some rare figures, but they also do paint apps and do that. And I purchased two, and I have them here right now. They are loose, obviously. They would not be carded in this, but that's okay because I decided, you know, I'm okay with a few loose figures that are part of this collection. So let's open this up and see what we have. The first one we have is Vlix. Okay, now Vlix, okay, was a released figure, but I believe only released in Brazil. I'll take on this little baggie here. Now, I gotta say, I took a look at this earlier, and I was really impressed by the quality of the figure and the fact that it is put together. It has a beautiful paint job on it, okay, and it can, you know, with 3D printing, you can print out the pieces individually, glue them together, paint them separately, glue them together, whatever is best for you, and you can even do the weapons. Okay. Now I will say that this, I don't believe you can. Oh, I guess you can hold this weapon. All right. So that's Vlix. Okay, and that is you know, kind of where we are with that. I am very, very excited to finally have a Vlix. Does it have to be an original Vlix? No. I just want to have a complete set of action figures. Now I will say that I consider myself an honest collector, and I do fully intend to make sure that this is always listed in my collection as a reproduction. That is a not original figure, because somebody could come in here and see this and say, "Oh man, I'll give you $10,000 for it," and that's not right. Okay, that's not right, and I understand that, and I do understand too that it can often be a little bit of a challenge. And my only complaint about this figure is that there is no marking to indicate that it is a reproduction. Oh wait, there might be. No, there is no marking. So that you got to be careful of. And from a controversial standpoint, I am with you on that if you don't like this, because that is not fair. I think that these figures need to be marked as reproductions. There are other places, and I will, you know, there's some other places that have started creating custom figures that I will be sharing with you in future videos that do make it very clear that their figures are not in any way meant to be original Kenner figures. These are reproductions, okay? So I will make sure I mark it, even if I have to take a permanent marker and do like, you know, Andy does in Toy Story and mark, you know, repro on the bottom, which is exactly what I will do. So that figure will never go into the hands of somebody thinking that it's an original, okay? At least not in my lifetime. So there's Vlix, okay? Cool. And there are some, you know, if you're a real figure connoisseur, there's a few things. I think the head spin is a little loose. All right, there's a few things you can kind of tell. All right, so there's Vlix. I'm gonna put him over here. See how he stands. Now I will say that his stature is a little odd, but then again, weren't all of the action figures in the original days kind of odd? Some of them didn't stand up too well. All right, this next one. Okay, I'm a little bit embarrassed. I will put the name. I do not actually have the name of this character. I feel bad, but I will tell you. They'll put it in the. You'll get the name of it in the on the screen, and I apologize for that. I should have prepared for that, and I didn't. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. My bad. All right, so he comes with another weapon similar to Vlix, and this guy is really awesome. He's like, now the thing about this This figure was not even produced. It was only up for a possible production. It never happened. So this figure is essentially which, it's a pretty good bet that if you see anybody trying to sell this figure, that you know it's fake, okay? Or I should say it's a reproduction. I'm actually going to, in his case, he looks like he should be holding the gun kind of up like this. Well, no, maybe not. Can he hold it here? Oh, wow, they both hold their weapons. Okay, very good. So, this character is an Imperial officer. Hey, Blix, what are you doing? Get back up here. Don't embarrass me. Come on. Alright, stay there. Alright, so this character is an Imperial character of some sort. But he's obviously a little bit cybernetic, or he's got some like an eye patch thing going on. And again, it was not produced. I will say his paint job is not quite as good, I think, as Blix, but I still appreciate the attention to detail. And again, there are no markings that this is repro, so I will make sure that I include that on here. I'll probably write it underneath here, right here, so that anybody who looks at the figure will see that it is a reproduction. Okay, I absolutely love the reproduction quality that is coming out. I think that for people, I've never been a customizer myself, but I do believe that with the advent of screen printing, 3D screen printing, okay, where you can actually get, not only nowadays, you can actually find actual designs that you can purchase for very little money, download to your own screen 3D printing setup, and produce. Now, obviously, they're usually one color, and then you have to paint them, which involves a little bit more skill and craft, but you can, in fact, do that. So I think that that's a really cool thing, and I applaud entrepreneurs that make a living or a partial living out of putting this together and doing it, especially for custom rare prototype figures, as long as you are advertising them as reproductions and not trying to pass them off as the original. Okay, I'm amazed at what they can come up with. And now I'm thinking, there was a time, kids, when printers, well, there was a time we didn't have printers. Then there was a time when we had printers, but they only printed a very dull black, maybe almost a gray, and then a black and white. And then they came out with color printers. And no one really thought about it at first. Like, oh, well, what's the big deal? A color printer. Then you started printing pictures. And then all of a sudden, everybody said, oh, I guess we don't need to develop film anymore because we can just print our pictures now. And then that evolved into we don't even need to print pictures because we put everything on Facebook and Instagram and things of that nature. But you can still very easily and very cheaply print books, posters. The printing technology got very easy to do when it used to be a lot harder to do and a lot more complicated. Imagine what would happen if you could become if 3D printers became available that were full color 3D printers that I could figure out and mix and make 3D prints. You could literally, Hasbro could literally create files that you could download for less money and then just purchase the resin or plastic that you need and produce the figures yourself. And you can doctor them and change them and customize them any way you want. I think that the future for action figure collecting, it has the potential to do some really cool things. Okay, and as I said, there will be future episodes with some more custom and individual kind of items like that are reproductions and whatnot. And if you're interested, a real easy thing to do is find people that have reproduced the weapons for action figures and the accessories that they come with, the things that get lost easy. Those are things that people are reproducing now very easily. And it makes it a lot easier for you to, if you have a broken vehicle and you want to get the pieces you need to make it look more complete, you have all sorts of things that you can do. Okay, yes, we're on kind of the honor system, although really true connoisseur collectors will be able to tell the difference no matter what you do. But it is important to just make sure that you stay on the honor system and make sure that you do not try to pass off a reproduction 3D printed item as an original. If you don't do that and you're just collecting them for you to have them in your collection, that is truly a good thing. So that'll going to do it for this week's episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the bell icon, all that other jazz. Let people know about the channel. Welcome to our new subscribers. And you like the merch? Today I am wearing the Cloud City Cloud Car sketch of the box. And again, one of the things, it's hard, sometimes it's hard to see, but most of my boxed shirts have one flap open as if it's unboxed. Get it? Unboxed. Yeah. So, if you like this and you want to get one yourself, go check out my TeePublic store in TeePublic, and my storefront's link is below. And if you want to maybe talk to the artist, Karina Megalio, who's the artist for this, she can be reached at her website below also, and she'll do commissions as well. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force and the toys, new, old, prototypes, or reproductions, may they all be with you.